This time on the show, locking down your PC with proximity and a little bit of Bluetooth magic. I'll be showing you how. Then, what's the IEEE on about these days? Darren reports from South by Southwest, plus reversing cat without SED, more fun bash tips, and VPN security. Who do you trust? All that and more. This segment of Hak5 is brought to you by Domain.com.
Hello, welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
This is your weekly dose of Technologist.
And it's delicious.
It is.
Tastes like tacos and tomatoes.
You've been
and
hanging out at the
cheese.
taco truck again,
I
haven't
might
you?
have.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I see where this
So
is
what's
going.
up? How was South by Southwest?
You mean South by, right? No, I'm joking.
Oh, please.
It
You sound like
was
those hipsters.
not a, yeah, that's what it was. It was a hipster con. It was not a hacker con.
No.
And like my talk was called, what was it, Wi-Fi ownage or Wi-Fi
How
hacking?
to own
something.
everybody at South by Southwest?
Pretty much. It should have been called that because Wi-Fi hacking in a target-rich environment, something like that.
Okay.
Very similar to the title of the workshop that we'll be doing at Noisebridge on the 30th. But
What's the link for that?
hak5.org/workshop.
Hak5.org/workshop.
Yes,
Awesome.
but South by Southwest was fun just in that, cool people were there. Colleen was there, Dual Core was there.
Oh, cool.
Well, 80 of Dual Core.
Yeah.
Unfortunately not C64, but, go Manchester. And Chris from DoD.net. So we're going to have some awesome segments from that later because we ended up, coding for, the second half of the con.
Don't you always? You go to a convention, it's just like, oh, let me get on my computer.
And everybody
hours.
has been asking me, when are we going to publish the, the talk that I did? They are pretty, I don't know.
What, are they stringent about it?
They're pretty strict about that kind of stuff. I wasn't actually allowed to record my own talk. But they did, and it comes out as an audio podcast, and then I will be publishing my slides, and I'm going to see if I can kind of work together some sort of syncing them together.
Yeah.
Because it was a lot of fun, there's, that magnetic evil Wi-Fi pineapple enclosure of doom.
Right,
I had it connected to the side of an ATM.
Oh my God, did you really?
And get this, it was so much fun. So I'm putting it in different places around the con, just taking some photos of it and stuff. And I put this on this ATM, and I'm taking a photo of it. This guy walks up to me, he's doing his business, and I'm just like, I kind of need to move on here. So I go up and I'm like, excuse me. And he's like, going through his mind, he's like, oh, pardon me, no problem whatsoever. And I come up and I just grab this big chunk of metal off the side of the machine and I'm like, boom.
That's awesome.
And when I pull it off of it, it's it makes this big, hollow boom. And his eyes just and I'm like, excuse me. And I just walk off and there's
oh my God. So you go to a hacker con and it's like, oh, but that's pretty
normal. Yeah. Oh, what, did you just pull? Yes, I did. Yeah.
You go to South by Southwest, you freak everybody out.
Yeah. So I'm really stoked about, I guess we'll talk about it in a following week because Chris and Edie and I pretty much spent some time coding up some good stuff, and it's called, what is the name of the project again?
Hack all the things.
Yeah, it's Hack All the Things, Drink All the Booze, and Kill All the Humans, the new 3 laws of
That makes
robotics.
sense.
Take that,
Right.
Isaac.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
It
I love
does.
it.
Yes.
Very informative. So today I have some awesome Bluetooth software that I'm checking out. So
Ooh.
yeah, I know,
Bluetoothy.
Bluetooth. I've never really messed with Bluetooth.
You know what?
so.
I've been rocking the Bluetooth a lot lately. I don't know if you noticed this, if Paul's shot is wide enough, but Paul, get this. You want to get in wide on this?
Yeah,
You know what? I'll look at you rocking your little 11-inch. I'm now rocking my 5.3 with the Bluetooth, and check that out.
How can
I'm in
you
my
deal
shell.
with that screen though? It's so
love
small.
I love this thing. It's so great.
Now I understand why you decided to get the phablet.
It's not a phablet. There's no fapping with the phablet. It's a tablet phone and wallet and now
you just keep telling
terminal.
yourself that.
So.
I'm gonna stick with my laptop and my new iPad whenever that
How do you
comes
pronounce it
out.
again?
Shut up. God, everybody makes fun of me for that. Whatever.
You can take
say
the,
tomato,
you
I
can
say
take
tomato.
the girl out of Missouri, but you can't take the Missouri out of the girl.
Exactly. I'm gonna say
Which is a snow
laptop for
clone.
the rest of my life. You can deal with it. 3 snaps information around the world. Back snap. What?
Is this something about
Don't worry about
goat
it.
cheese
We have a gift.
again?
What? Oh! Don't make me regulate my Get-a-5, Pustabify, Yugoslavian government, goat cheese, Wu-Tang. What? Let me get the gift.
Help me.
That's pretty much the fastest I will ever talk. Okay, so we have...
We need you to do a duet with Dualcore now.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
Whoa, no, is this a Rio? Oh my God, it is a Rio. Paul, check this out.
This is from Bill God.
Oh, it even has the...
Bill God.
Dude, look at this. It even has the parallel injector.
Oh, he's the one that sent the pictures of the dinosaurs built out of circuit boards.
Oh, wow, that's
This
so
guy.
cool.
So he
Dude.
said, I'm sending you my original Diamond Rio. I purchased this MP3 back in '98 for about $200. 32 megs on board and has an external port for another 32 meg media card, which I've lost over the years.
Oh.
It works off parallel port. Took about 30 minutes to copy 15 songs.
Oh, dude, I used to have a digital camera that had the slot. This thing is, I wish I could find the thing. It's ridiculous.
That's nuts.
This is going up there, man. When we would do the, yes.
Isn't that hilarious?
Wow, that is so cool. You could have 64 megabytes. That's like almost an entire album.
Yeah, almost.
Almost.
That's so cool.
And I love the parallel port thing. This thing was god-awfully slow.
Yeah.
I love how it just like injects it in there. Dude, this is fantastic. You know, this is like hardware that like you could just build right now because it's just pen for pen.
You know, yeah, you really
wow.
could. It's pretty awesome.
Thank you. Man, I love it. Great gifts from fans.
Me too.
I brought us a gift from South by Southwest.
Did you?
Yes.
What's the gift?
In the form of an interview with IEEE.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's check it out.
All right.
Well, we've got the great pleasure of getting some more IEEE folks on. We've got Jay Herrero, is that how you pronounce it? Herrero. And Edward Rashba? And so what do you guys do at IEEE?
So I'm working with new companies and technologies and trying to figure out what it is that will help industry, government, and other constituents to realize their objectives, and really based around things like collaboration, standards, and putting some models in place that help them get their work done.
And you?
I work in emerging technologies, and my particular area of interest is virtual worlds, 3D, and it's getting wider and wider. Digital cinema, interactive television, games, and so forth. And right now I'm trying to putting together a group of experts in those different fields, and in effect creating a community where I don't think there was one before. Basically, I see a lot of underlying technological similarities among these groups, and they have similar problems. And so I'm putting them together and seeing how the IEEE can sort of further those technologies.
Are there already sets of specifications and standards for those sorts of things? Because I'm not familiar with any for visual. I mean, last thing I heard as far as VR was concerned was VRML.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. There are some things, but they tend to be siloed, and a lot of these groups don't talk to each other. I think the real insight that's animating this project is that these people have more in common than they think they do. And some of the three-dimensional, 3D issues of objects and various coding issues are not really addressed by any of the existing standards. There are standards that address specific pieces, but no sort of overarching thing. I should say that the real goal of this group immediately is not to create standards, because a lot of these technologies haven't really gelled yet. But there are a lot of other things that the IEEE can do, given its sort of interdisciplinary nature and its clout. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to sort of combine the clout with a very innovative way of thinking and community creation, really. So not everything we do is standards. It's creating a sort of technology salon in a way, not using the wrong word, but basically getting experts to talk.
And so, as the director of new business ventures, what does that mean for you as far as, see, I think, like we were just mentioning, standards, and I guess there's so much more to IEEE that I don't see. So what are some of those other things that I'm not seeing?
Yes, and not only to IEEE, but to the standards part of IEEE. In fact, probably building on what Jay was saying about bringing groups together, it's clear that the technology is not always at the point where a formal standard is the need. And so part of what I've been working on is kind of retooling the model. How do we engage these communities early on? And we put some tools in place. For example, there's an industry connections program, and there, for example, the antivirus groups, companies are getting together with the software packer community to try to figure out, well, how do we stop malware from coming into packed software? And so the output of that group is developing, on one hand, white papers, but also an entire software library. So you can know who the good guys and who the bad guys are, and a tagging system that is able to provide this traceability. So it's not at all standard, but it's a consensus output from a community.
And so how did you guys get involved with IEEE initially?
Not that far. You've got seniority, sir.
That's right.
You take that one
hard to
first.
remember. I originally came in as from the publishing side of things, and I was an editor for a long time. And the first thing I did really at the IEEE was to use some sort of redo the publishing system, and that was quite a while ago. We're using SGML, if that rings a bell, is sort of the predecessor to XML, or a parent of it. We're trying to basically turn all of our content into a structured database, and this was quite a while ago. And that process is still going on with other people doing it, and it's a long-term process. And I got involved with virtual worlds probably, well, before Second Life happened. I was working with QuickTime VR and mocking up experimental websites and things like that that were immersive, where you could actually walk through and use what we all instinctively know about architecture as sort of the governing, like a shifter with a gate, so that basically the cues that we all intuitively know about architecture would serve as a way to structure the content. And so that was the premise of a lot of what I've been doing, and that's sort of how I got into this, is basically using, rethinking information in 3 dimensions.
And you?
So I came at IEEE from a different perspective. I was running startups in the telecom space and was looking for something new to do and to leverage what I knew about technology, which was relatively little compared to the education I've gotten over time at IEEE. And looking, for example, some of the projects now that I've been working on, like, for example, the Power Matters Alliance, which just launched last week, which is looking to bring intelligence to wireless power, dealing with energy efficiency issues. There you have the Hollywood studios collaborating with utilities and others who are dealing on the technology and wireless charging to enable whole new areas. One of the kind of the messages for South by Southwest is we have a lot of great people working on innovations across probably a broader spectrum than anywhere else, and bringing Maiwa Denki with together Dean Kamen kind of highlights what it is that IEEE stands for, which is a lot of really innovative work going on, and helping to move these. We'd like folks to know that IEEE is a place where those next innovations can be worked on.
It doesn't matter whether you're in the shower or hanging out with friends or showering with your friends. When a killer idea hits you, you need to snag your domain fast. And with domain.com's simple search and checkout process, you're gonna have that domain in like no time. Plus, when you're ready to take the next step, domain.com has rock solid hosting infrastructure to create a perfect foundation for your project. And get this, the guys over at domain.com, they're huge Hak5 fans. They want to hook you up, so they've got a coupon code just for us. It's HAK5 at checkout, gets you 15% off. So when you think domains, think domain.com.
So I can remember years ago going to the Consumer Electronics Show and seeing all of these different vendors showing off different emerging wireless charging systems, all of them using like induction charging, like PowerMat, one of them. And one of the things that I always asked was, you know, what's the standard behind this? And of course, they all have their own standard. And so I think, you know, unless it's coming from IEEE or ISO, it's really not something I'm that interested in. And here you're talking about forming consortiums and associations and alliances. And is that the typical way that standards form with new technologies, or like Wi-Fi, like the Wi-Fi Alliance coming after 802.11? Is that the typical way? How do these things? How are these things typically born?
So typically on some of these fast-moving technologies, you'd have a group of companies that gets together, you know, writes a set of agreements about how they're going to work together and collaborate and share IP, and they launch an industry initiative. And one of the reasons for doing so is the perception that it's going to be quicker, that it's going to, you know, the time to market is going to be there. They're not kind of fettered with this.
No one's going to win
process.
otherwise, yeah.
However, I think I've seen an evolution in thinking where, you know, companies see IEEE and more formal bodies like IEEE as a place to actually develop a standard that is, you know, going to build faith in the marketplace and is going to be able to be adopted globally. You know, one standard, one technology, one standard being the, you know, the optimal way of going, and certainly for the consumers and everyone else involved, you know, there's the benefits of having a single standard. Whereas companies might have, you know, taken that informal role, your own approach, and tried to do it their way, I think they're seeing more and more that IEEE is a place to do that work.
What I'm doing, for example, and what a lot of the emerging technology people are doing is really creating a new community that might not think it needs standards at this point, that might not even see the commonality of their interests. But if you put them together and get them to talk, sometimes the most interesting insights come from people who are not expert in that particular field. You know, they're not as bound by the assumptions. But if you get them all talking, I kind of am interested in what they think, you know, in terms of standardizations. How you know, the IEEE can do a lot of things for them, and standards is one of them. But I think it's a whole spectrum of activities, and it depends. You know, with virtual worlds, half the people you talk to are going to say there's no need for standards, they're not ready, it'll be 10 years, if not 100 years, you know, this is... but on the other hand, you've got augmented reality, which is right on the edge, and they're related. So is virtual reality, so is computer-generated cinema. And games really incorporate all of those modalities to get the point across.
And how have you found the reception of the companies that you've approached in the VR space or the augmented reality space?
We had a meeting last year, an unconference. It was we held it at Sony Pictures at the studios in LA, and it was a group of sort of a predecessor of the group that I'm putting together now. They were a lot of virtual reality people, from everything from artists to the military, people who never get together, and a number of people who've done heavy work on computer-generated cinema, a lot of games people. And we got them all together, and this was the first time they actually hung out with each other, and it was very interesting to see, you know, what happened. So when I talked about putting together a group to go wherever you all think we should go, you know, but to give the IEEE, use the IEEE resources to help this happen, I've gotten a lot of enthusiasm. I've got about 30 people in this group now from all over the world, and they're they like the idea of sort of combining Hollywood with Silicon Valley in a way, you know, making California a little smaller, you know, realizing that there are commonalities that they hadn't exploited yet. So, you know, they're pretty enthusiastic.
And so do those people end up rolling into the organization, or how does the organization bring in new talent and new minds and whatnot?
I think through doing things like this, a lot of the people who are participating in this here, IEEE, they have old associations with it, and they think this isn't a power plant, this isn't a this, this isn't standardizable at this point, and they see it as too rigid a mechanism. But once I tell them sort of the spectrum of things that we can do, and that we're really very sensitive to the stage of development of a technology, they were into it, Plus, a lot of them are very, very idealistic people. They really are committed to making things better and improving the world, and that's really a big piece of our mission. So when I express it in those terms, isn't it going to be amazing when X, Y, Z? That's when I really see the engagement in their eyes. They see that this is a way to leverage their talent and work so that everybody can benefit. So that's how I'm doing it. I think everybody has a different way of going about it. Edward has a different way.
It sounds like you both have fell into the organization in much different ways, and so I'm wondering, what is it that a young person, maybe like a CS student or something like that, somebody that's passionate about these technologies, how they get involved with the organization.
I was at a VR conference in Costa Mesa last week, and there were a lot of young people there, a lot of undergrads, and so I had a lot of good conversations with them, and a few of them are going to be participating, I hope. People who might not have thought of this as an outlet. But once we talked for a while, they got really into it, and I feel like I made a good connection with a lot of them. I think it's a natural place for young people to be because they're excited, they're motivated, they're focused, and they have a lot of talent that isn't taken advantage of, and it should be. Also, they come up with the freshest insights sometimes.
And it's an opportunity for them to maybe get to work with folks like a Dean Kamen, someone who's really also carried over that enthusiasm of youth and actually been able to make their imprint. And I think it's a really terrific environment for that type of mentoring. And when you have a common goal, be it any of the outputs that or activities that Jay's been talking about, or more formal, it is an opportunity for them to indeed, I would say, bring in those fresh insights and marry that with the experience. And you're looking at these challenges that stand before us, be it smart grid or cloud. How do you realize you need to bring together these diverse communities? I think it skews both from the technology side, but also the demographic side. And I think we're making some progress, as Jay's saying. It's kind of the younger, enthusiastic, engaged folks, and we're meeting and talking to as many as we can here at South by Southwest.
That's so great. Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it, Edward, Jay. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.